The parents think they're in school, and here they are dead in the park.
Well, tonight we are putting a face to the heartbreak after a city high school student was killed. As Fox 45 News continues to push for answers, what is being done to keep children safe? A car fire causing all this damage in Bel Air today. What the owner tried to do moments before it spread to his house and the six-figure damage estimate.
I think it's bullshit. I was here. I was down there.
Just one opinion of portrayal of new video from the January 6th riot, the differing views ahead.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
And good evening, everybody. I'm Mary Bubala. Fox 45 News at 6 starts right now with the exclusive Fox Track, your Baltimore Minute.
Out of 37 high schools in Baltimore City, we can see graduation data for 33. Project Baltimore found 10 of those 33 schools had a 4-year graduation rate below 50%. That's 10 Baltimore City high schools where over 4 years, more students didn't graduate than did. The district explained the steps it's taking to improve student outcomes, including summer learning, implementation of student learning plans, and stricter attendance verification.
The U.S. is not yet ready for the era of great power conflict, citing simulated war games in which America suffered devastating losses. And despite an $800 billion defense budget, the U.S. needs submarines to counter China's Navy. Missile production is lacking, and action could extend well into the Arctic, where the U.S. lags way behind on its fleet of icebreakers.
Well, another family of a child in Baltimore grieving tonight. And we know the Patterson High School student killed outside the school. His name is Isaiah Carter. Alexa Ashwell with the latest on the investigation.
Officials today identifying the Patterson High School teen killed as 16-year-old Isaiah Carter and offering an $8,000 reward for information regarding his case, including who shot him and why.
This is the Patterson High School student, Isaiah Carter, 16 years old and, according to the district, a member of the junior ROTC, who police say was shot and killed in a park next to his school in southeast Baltimore around 2 yesterday afternoon. An $8,000 reward now being offered for information in his case.
I'm a retired teacher, so it breaks my heart. Like, it's disgusting, and I feel so terrible. The parents think they're in school, and here they are dead in the park.
Detectives returning to the scene at Joseph Lee Park, where forensic techs were also seen taking additional pictures. Leftover crime tape marking the area where the shooting happened during school hours. According to the police commissioner, witnesses reported hearing gunshots coming from the park and then saw people scattering from the scene.
There were a number of witnesses who told us they heard gunshots and that multiple people were running in different directions away from the scene from where the victim fell.
The commissioner detailing responding officers found the teen lying on the ground with gunshot wounds. He was rushed to an area hospital where a short time later was pronounced dead.
I saw tons of helicopters and just people running down there, to the park, and it was terrifying.
Neighbors troubled by the crime, particularly involving youth.
The kids are out of control around here. I literally see them come through the field there, guns in their hands, sitting right there on the corner with guns in their hand. And it's gotten to where I won't even sit out on my front porch no more.
And while police have not yet released what they believe led up to this shooting,
what we need to know right now is who would have been with this student, why they were in the park at this hour.
This is yet another case of a student falling victim to gun violence near their school and during school hours.
The schools have protocols in place.
The district superintendent responding when questioned if the city has a problem keeping kids in schools.
We are looking at larger community issues that touch schools because schools are part of the community.
They say they have cameras. Well, they need to have people at the doors, and they need to have old school attendance. I'm just praying that they find whoever did this.
Right now, members of the community are beginning to gather for a vigil at this park for Isaiah Carter this evening. As for the investigation, no suspect information has been released. In Southeast Baltimore, Alexa Ashwell, Fox 45 News.
Well, Isaiah Carter is the fifth person under the age of 18 shot and killed this year. 17 other children have survived shootings in Baltimore this year. Fox 45 News will continue to seek answers and solutions to the violence claiming young lives. Juvenile crime is a statewide issue. A Frederick County 13-year-old has been arrested on six charges after police say he went into a store and assaulted the owner and a customer. He also allegedly flashed a gun at the store owner. One officer says he recognized the 13-year-old from a previous case. Police found a BB gun when they searched the teen. The charges include armed robbery, first and second-degree assault, and destruction of property. And while the Baltimore area is seeing a decline in shootings and homicides to start the year, the past 8 years have seen at least 300 lives lost. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost had a chance to sit down with Maryland's former governor as the General Assembly continues to debate legislation targeting violent crime.
Larry Hogan says the General Assembly is out of touch with what community members want in terms of crime plans. Before leaving office, Hogan told me one of his biggest regrets was not getting that Violent Firearms Offender Act passed and on his desk to sign. Right now, it's not clear if there will be any more luck this year. Out of office and opening up about what's happening inside the State House, especially when it comes to anti-crime legislation. The Republican caucus carrying the torch forward for former Governor Larry Hogan on the Violent Firearms Offender Act. It seeks to implement tougher penalties for gun offenders, especially repeat offenders. Didn't clear the House while you were in office. Do you think that they're barking up the wrong tree with this bill that didn't see success in the past, or do you think it's worth it?
No, I think it's absolutely worth it. I think it's one of the most important things we can possibly do, which is why we pushed for it every year. Things have changed a little bit since then.
Hogan says that change
the Office of State's Attorney of Baltimore City
is City State's Attorney Ivan Bates, who campaigned on getting tougher on crime.
The General Assembly is just so far out of touch with their constituents. Ivan Bates at least is a state's attorney in Baltimore who says, yes, this is a problem we want to tackle.
Bates' bill faces an uphill road to pass right now with some criticism and concern about more people in jail. Despite Bates arguing his plan is needed to get a handle on gun violence gripping Baltimore and other cities. Hogan used his position in the State House to urge lawmakers to pass his plans, but those efforts unsuccessful. When you were in office, do you remember any piece of legislation that cleared both chambers and made it to your desk that implemented tougher penalties for violent offenders?
Well, the Violent Offenders Act did not pass, but we did pass some better crime bills where we passed RICO statutes that enabled us to help take down criminal gang enterprises. We are facing every single person in Baltimore City being opposed to doing anything about violent crime.
Now, some Democrats say they are open to looking at certain crime bills.
Good morning, everyone.
We pressed Senate President Bill Ferguson just last week, a Democrat from Baltimore City, on if his chamber will get on board with the GOP-backed Violent Firearm Offender Act, too. So is there appetite for that bill?
I think it's in consideration, something that I support. I think we're having conversations across both chambers about what might be feasible. There's a lot more work that has to go to make sure that we have real safe communities.
Not a clear yes or no from the Senate leader. While Hogan has plenty of time now that he's out of office, lawmakers are running up against the clock to get crime bills done before the end of session on April 10th. The former governor also faces some criticism from lawmakers right now in Annapolis who say Hogan let staffing levels drop to unacceptable levels, especially when looking at parole and probation staffing. I asked the former governor about that, and he says he stands by the staffing numbers, noting he believes smaller government for Maryland is best. In Baltimore, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
A hearing over Mayor Brandon Scott's controversial conduit deal with BGE is wrapping up at this hour. For a third time, the City Council held an investigative hearing into the deal that allows BGE broad control of the underground network of pipes containing utility cables, the conduit system. That deal was approved while two members of the Board of Estimates refused to show up. Now, we have a reporter at the hearing speaking with council members right now. Their reaction to the answers received today coming up on Fox 45 News at 10 o'clock. Mary?
Thank you. Also new tonight, A fire causing more than $150,000 in damage to a Bel Air home appears to have been started in the engine compartment of the homeowner's BMW. It started in the garage. Firefighters tell Fox 45 News the owner heard popping from the garage, went to check, and then saw smoke coming from under the hood. He tried to push the car outside, but couldn't in time. Thankfully, he was not hurt. Well, next on Fox 45 News at 10, an emergency flight to shock trauma while on life support a month ago. Now a salute and hugs this afternoon. The remarkable recovery of a detective wounded in the Cockeysville standoff. You have to see the video.
And our planner through the overnight hours gets cold. Temperatures settling down into the upper 20s and low 30s by the morning commute. Tomorrow, I'm going to let you know how much we won't warm up by our afternoon on Wednesday. My Weather Authority forecast.
Kevin McCarthy using the power of the Speaker's office to give never-before-seen footage from January 6th to Fox News. And it paints a different story of what happened that day, but does it matter? I'm Kayla Gaskins in Washington.
A Baltimore County police officer shot in last month's manhunt in Cockeysville reaches a milestone in his recovery. That's Detective Jonathan Shee walking out of the University of Maryland Rehabilitation Hospital a month after being shot. He was on life support at one point for several days. What a moment as he was saluted by colleagues. Yesterday, David Linthicum, the man arrested in that two-day standoff and accused of shooting Detective Shee, was formally indicted on more than 24 charges, including those related to the shooting of Shee and another Baltimore County police officer. Mary?
Kai, thank you. More than 40,000 hours of video from the January 6th riot at the Capitol exist. Some of the footage still has not been shared. Until a cable news segment last night, national correspondent Kayla Gaskins with reaction from lawmakers in Washington.
The dramatic images from January 6, 2021, seared into our memory. But a different spin emerging after Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy last month released all of the Capitol security footage of that day to Fox News.
Protesters queue up in neat little lines. They give each other tours outside the Speaker's office. They take cheerful selfies and they smile. They're not destroying the Capitol. They obviously revere the Capitol.
Full Measure's Cheryl Atkinson spoke with one protester, later arrested by the FBI, who insists many at the Capitol that day were not violent.
People were coming out of the building saying the police are letting us in. You can go in, you can just walk around, everybody's taking videos.
Evans' account similar to video that shows how Capitol Police interacted with the infamous QAnon shaman.
The Capitol Police never stopped Jacob Chansley. They helped him. They acted as his tour guides.
Republican senators disagreeing with the picture Carlson painted.
I think it's bullshit. I was here. I was down there. When you see police barricades breached, when you see police officers assaulted, if you were just a tourist, you should have probably lined up at the visitor center and came in on an orderly basis.
Another acknowledging it wasn't the insurrection depicted by the January 6th committee, made up of Democrats and 2 anti-Trump Republicans, and which hired a veteran television producer to shape their narrative.
My recollection of the day is that it was not just some rowdy, peaceful protest of Boy Scouts, nor was it, the takedown of democracy that others, on the extreme side want to call it.
Both the January 6th committee and Tucker Carlson are biased, but the January 6th committee claimed not to be biased. January 6th had something to it. It just didn't have anything to it to the extent to which the January 6th committee alleged.
Senator Kramer from North Dakota says he supports making all 40,000 hours of surveillance video from in and around the Capitol on January 6th public so Americans can decide for themselves. In Washington, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
Well, CNN obtained an internal memo from Capitol Police Chief Tom Manger, highly critical of the Fox News segment, saying the program cherry-picked from the footage and described the commentary as, quote, offensive and misleading. Well, here's our look at today's top trending stories. Number 1, the Ravens have failed to reach a long-term contract with Lamar Jackson by today's franchise tag deadline. So they have chosen to tag him. There are 2 types. The one the Ravens are using does allow other teams to negotiate with the former MVP. If Jackson accepts an offer, the Ravens do have a chance to match it. We'll have much more on what happens if they don't and the other options that still are out there ahead in Sports Unlimited at 10 and 11 tonight. Number 2, retired quarterback Tom Brady is putting rumors of a comeback to bed, blaming his daughter's kitten. Tweeting, quote, anybody who thinks I have time to come back to the NFL has never adopted a 2-month-old kitten for their daughter. So no chance of him even coming here if Lamar leaves. Not that there was ever any chance anyway. Well, number 3, on the subject of incomplete business deals, feds are trying to block an airline merger. The Department of Justice is suing to prevent or change the terms of the multi-billion-dollar plan that would bring low-cost carriers Spirit Airlines and JetBlue together. JetBlue argues the deal would create a new, stronger competitor to the 4 larger airlines. The feds disagree.
All right, taking a look at the Fox Triplecast, Mile 1 Taos Cam, Toyota Ishida Harbor Sky Cam, showing us a beautiful sunset, and on the HD radar, latest weather maker continues to move up into New England and away. Had some snow showers earlier on this morning up near the state line, and even a couple of rain showers not too far from Baltimore. I know down at my home in Anne Arundel County had some sprinkles around, and then you work your way west. There's some dry time until you get some rain and snow that's out in portions of the Midwest, and eventually we'll see a system coming at us from the Midwest by the end of the week. And as colder air, like we're seeing right now, filters in, could be a little bit of an interesting weather pattern. Could be interesting March and late winter wise as we head through Friday into Saturday. So we'll talk more about that in the extended forecast. But 49 right now. Winds out of the northwest at 15. There's that wind chill. Mile 1 Taos Cam looks good, but it feels cold. Wind chill at 43 degrees. Winds out of the west-northwest about 15 to 25. Some gusts still about 26 here in Baltimore, 28 miles an hour at Annapolis, 33 at Frederick and also Stevensville. Temperatures in the 40s to around 50. And we zoom out, you'll see the temperatures are falling off by leaps and bounds over 24 hours ago. Not only here in Baltimore, actually, we're not that bad considering the 15 to 25 degrees, even 30 degrees colder just a stone's throw away west of the Appalachians. Cold front down to our south, keeping warmer air away, colder air moving in. And there's some systems that are going to glide into and kind of around the rim of that colder air that sets up for us mid and late week. And by Friday, again, we could be in for something around here. Now, as we work our way into the overnight hours, 20s to 30s by early tomorrow morning. Still a blustery breeze going, so it's going to feel colder than it is. By tomorrow afternoon, highs getting up to about 45 to 50, which is actually below average for this time of year. Clear, then a few clouds late night tonight, low 28 for tomorrow. We're at 49 with sunny skies. It's going to be chilly. I'll let you know what's to come rain and snow-wise in our exclusive 10-day forecast after the break.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
There is so much snow in the mountains east of Salt Lake City, mailboxes are buried in snow. Unless, of course, you dig them out. A Washington State photographer found this morning's full moon hiding behind clouds over the Olympic Mountains. And with temperatures approaching 60 degrees in Cincinnati, plenty of flowers like these daffodils are blooming earlier than usual.
Want to see your weather photos and videos on TV? Click Chime In on this station's website to share.
I could hear them climbing and scratching all the way along the wall.
A Maryland man says his brand new home came with something he did not expect. What he found in his walls, coming up next. Well, around the state in Charles County, a man says his newly built home is infested with rodents, and he's blaming the developer. Our Sinclair sister station in Washington is stepping in. Reporter Christian Flores demanding answers to deliver results.
Imagine this. You bought your dream home built just for you. Then months into living here, you hear what sounds like something living in the walls. That's what Jeff Mason is dealing with, and he believes the builders are at fault.
From up the lamp to the left of the bed and then down that next side of the wall, yep, I could hear them climbing and scratching all the way along the wall.
An unsettling discovery for Jeff Mason.
I was laying in bed and I started hearing something. My immediate thought, it had to be an animal. It was nothing else it could be.
He took video of what he thought sounded like mice inside his wall by his bed, even clawing near his smoke detector.
It sounded like whatever was up in the attic was clicking against the smoke detector and the different wires, and it actually startled me and made me want to get up and see what's going on in my house when I'm home alone.
An exterminator confirmed mice were in his walls and gave him a quote of almost $7,000 to get them out.
And they said it had to come in through the attic. That's due to no negligence of my own. It has to be the builder.
Mason bought the brand new home from developer Lennar, and he has spent the last year and a half trying to get them to pay for these services. Lennar's warranty policy states they will help with certain repairs, but excludes pest control. 7 News is on your side, asking Lennar if they will help Mason.
The mailbox is full.
Late tonight, they sent us this statement saying Lennar stands behind our construction and is committed to working with owners to ensure their homes live up to their expectations. Mason says Lennar's statement offers him little hope that they will step up. So 7 News will keep working for him.
It's a health concern. No one wants to live knowing that, hey, this is above me.
Exclusive 10-day forecast, 49 degrees for tomorrow, a blustery day, 52 with lots of sun on Thursday. Actually should be at about 51, 52 for highs this time of year. Look at that, only 44 on Friday. So the next weather maker moves in, could have some rain, maybe even some wet flakes, especially north and west of the Beltway. I think we're going to be fighting March sun angle, but some computer models are saying maybe some slushy accumulation, something to watch there Friday into early Saturday. Stays below average into early next week, and only 40s as we go all the way through next Friday.
Well, finally tonight, the Maryland Zoo's March photo contest is now open. Take a look at some of the submissions on the Zoo's Facebook page. The pictures are fantastic. The winning photo will be announced in their monthly newsletter and featured for 48 hours as the cover photo on the Zoo's Facebook page. That's where you can also vote with your likes. Oh, that's pretty, the flamingo, and your reactions. Well, that's all for Fox 45 News at 6. Family Feud's up next. We'll see you back here for the news at 10 tonight. Thanks again for watching. Have a great night, and we'll see you later.